Alright guys, today we're going to do a carburetor on a Ryobi bp42 backpack blower. There is a model number on this. See if I can get this zoomed in on it. It is, get that light off of it. Can't. There we go. ry08420a. It's the item number. I've done one or two of these videos before, but it doesn't hurt to have another one up just in case there's something different happening on this. All the parts come in a kit. They'll be in the description below. Super cheap on Amazon. Got everything you'll need. Oh, don't lose these parts. Even comes with a, different stuff. Sometimes it comes with an adjustment screwdriver. There's the primer bulb, spare one. Fuel filter, spare one, fuel lines, some little cleaning brushes. These work better on like the 4-stroke equipment, not so much on these. Gaskets, the choke handle, the actual carburetor. I'll put this in the description below. Just if you're on a mobile device, there's a down arrow next to the title. Click it, and the comments, there'll be a link. Click that and it'll take you right to it. Alright, right into this. First thing we're going to go ahead and do is drain all the gas. You want to start off with fresh, brand new gas. Whenever you do the fuel lines and carburetors, you don't want old gas ruining your brand new carburetor. So fresh, bought today, brand new gas. So empty this out. We're going to take out the 2 screws for the air filters, one here and one over here. They're torque 25 or flathead, or flathead screws. You can see the old one was just flooding out the air filter. So you just set this out in the sun, let it dry. I'm going to blow it out with air when I get ready to reassemble. Alright, we got to get this, this is like a backfire plate, so it keeps from burning out the filter, any backfiring that happens with 2 strokes. 1, 2, 3 torque 25s, take them out. We've got 2 torque 25s, 1, 2, take those out. Alright, so I guess now we're just going to go ahead and remove the fuel lines from the bottom of this primer bulb. Don't worry about where they go. I'll explain all that later. It's going to be, pulling them out, getting them out of the way. That's all. I'm just going to go ahead and cut them off. And this carburetor will come off. The throttle cable is just a little S-turn on it. It literally just fell off. What the fuck? Come on. There you go. So, just an S-turn, it goes in and then up like this. Like that. No big deal. Alright, use a little pair of needle nose. Grab the fuel lines, get them ripped out. With the gas tank. Prep everything. New carburetor, I'm going to put this on. It only fits in one direction. You'll see that there's a little half spot right there. It's the same on the inside of this. We're going to pop this primer bulb out and we're going to get in. You see the tall nipples towards me on that. We're just going to take anything at all really. Just, it's got a tab here and a tab here. You just got to kind of squeeze one in to get it to pop free. Can't do this with one hand. But little flathead screwdriver in there. I got this thing on there, whatever. But anything really, you just got to get one tab to freaking bend in. I got to hold this and do it at the same time, so pops right out. It's not really a big deal at all. And then the new one, you're gonna get it all lined up. You may have to. I got to use both hands again. If you get one side in like that, you can push the other side in and it wants to go in there, but I gotta hold this plastic and push it in. Then you just push it all the way until it clicks. Just like that, tall nipple towards the top. Alright, and now we're gonna go ahead and start installing fuel lines. So we're gonna cut this to a point like that, and then we're gonna shove it through the fuel line hole closest to you. You get it in there. You can grab it from the inside with needle nose and pull it through. that. Basically, it needs to be long enough to sit in the bottom of this. So you're going to pull a bunch through. It'll be a little bit too much, but you know it'll hit the bottom. Cut the tip off, like that. Grab one of the fuel filters and throw it and stab it inside this fuel line. Like that. Then we're going to set it down into the gas tank, making sure that it goes all the way to the bottom, down into here. And see it sit in the bottom. Just make sure it's sitting in the very bottom. And then you can pull a little bit of the extra fuel line out if you want. Just make sure it hits the bottom. Wiggling around, I can see it in the bottom right there. So this line is going to actually connect directly to the carburetor. It's going to be on the nipple closest to the fuel pump. So the 2-bolt side is the fuel pump. So it's going to go to this nipple right here. So we're going to just set this up like how it would go on. You see you got your throttle arm right there. We're just going to set it up. So the fuel line needs to make it to this area here. It's going to go directly in there. So we're going to go ahead and cut that off right about there. Just so we don't get confused, we're going to stab it on the nipple closest to the 2-hole side, or the 2-bolt side. See the other side? 4. That's the fuel pump side. That way we know that's where it goes. All right, let's go ahead and get the return line. Return line is only going to go to the primer bulb. So it's got to be long enough to go from here to just inside the gas line. Return line is the top tall nipple. So I'm going to stab the fuel. I'm going to go ahead and cut the other end into a point. So we've gotten that stabbed onto the long nipple. And we're going to stab that into the second hole. You see it's just going inside. All you got to do is get it inside, you know, maybe an inch at the most. But if you grab your little needle nose, you can grab it and you can just shove it in. You see it's going on in. If you need to, you can even grab the other side and pull it, but I've gotten it in about an inch already. If you got to, just reach inside, grab it, pull it a little bit, and boom, it's in. So it's gonna be plenty of space. There's gonna be plenty of space for it. All right, now this line, the little short nipple, is gonna go to the other side of this. It's gonna go to that nipple right there, the leftover one there. So what we're gonna do is we're going to set the carburetor in intake manifold up. We're gonna put these 2 bolts through the intake manifold. Bulb side's going to be up. We got the bolts in there. This, see, it's got the little hole, and this side doesn't. That little hole is a vacuum line for your fuel pump. So what we're going to do is make sure that that lines up with that. See, there's a little hole. It's a vacuum line for the fuel pump. So we're going to line those 2 up. We're going to connect the throttle cable. Like that. So those line up like that, and then we're going to line this up. I'm using the old gasket between the engine and the carburetor. And we get these bolts set through the carburetor. All right, so we've got all this kind of set up so we can see how it goes, right? What we're going to do, and you see this fuel line is going to want to pinch between. You got to make sure that it doesn't. I would actually put this over on this side. That'll keep it from pinching. All right, and then what we got to do, hold on, let me get this all set back up again. We got to go with a new piece of fuel line to the short nipple, just like that. And then this is going to reach around, and you're going to cut it off to length and stab it right down onto that nipple that's down in there. So you see it? Hold on. See, to that nipple right there. It's going to go to that one. Just like that. Now you're going to line up the bolts to the gasket and get them in the gasket into the intake and tighten them down. It's going to start it. But before you tighten them down, make sure that all your fuel lines aren't getting pinched. They can't get pinched behind the carburetor or between the air filter assembly and the carburetor. Once you've made sure of all that, torque 25, go ahead and tighten everything right back down. Alright, now we've gotten it all down. Double check, make sure there's no pinched lines anywhere. Everything is lined up perfectly fine. We're going to go ahead and dump a little gas inside the tank so we can see if it primes up. A little bit. Start priming. There we go. It's primed up. So it's pulling fuel through the fuel line, into the carb, through the carb, into the primer vault, and then squirting it back into the tank. And that's how that is. Now, if it isn't working, like if you push this down and you let go and the bulb stays down, you've got a line pinch somewhere. That's no good. If you've got if you get no fuel, that means you may have the lines backwards somewhere, because you're sucking through the return line instead of, you know, the other line. So probably the lines on your carburetor are backwards. And if you look deep down into the gas, you'll see little foamy bubbles when you're priming. That means the air is sucking through this line and pushing out there. That means you've got the two lines on your carburetor backwards. But if you follow everything like I said right there, you should be fine. It's nice and tight. Gas cap back on, just flex that, push it through, tighten it down. Now, this kit came with an adjustment screwdriver. If you fire it up and you hit the trigger and it bogs and shuts off, it's going to be, and this is the only adjustment you'll have to really make if you have to make any, and it is common. But the one closest to the air filter, see there's those two screws right there, one closest to the air filter. This is a Pac-Man screwdriver. You're going to put it in there and then just turn it slowly until you find it sinks in, and then you're going to go counterclockwise just a little at a time until you can squeeze that trigger and it throttles up. Alright, it may die and you'll have to restart it and whatever, but it'll probably idle. Like, this is a very common adjustment on new carburetors. It'll probably idle, but when you hit the throttle, it won't throttle up. Just means it's not getting enough fuel. It's getting too much air and not enough fuel. So, you know, it's just common adjustment, no big deal. All right, now we're going to go ahead and put the spark arrestor plate back on. That 3 torque 27 coarse thread screws. Put them in. Then I'm going to go ahead and blow this out with air, dry it out as good as I can. And then we're going to put the cover filter back on, and the 2 screws hold it in place. Alright, and that's it, guys. Hope this helped you out. If it did in any way, shape, or form, give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Today's t-shirt be in the description below. If you want to do any advertising through my channel, message me. I'm more than happy to have you. Peace.